The void state is the most powerful way to manifest instantly. And in this video, Willow and I are going to discuss what the void state is, how to access it, and if it is so powerful, why aren't more people talking about it or just being this? So this state, this void state, is pure consciousness. It is the deepest state of pure consciousness. You are deeply relaxed. You don't have emotions, thoughts, desires. You're not aware of who you are, and you don't have resistance, which is why it's so powerful. You can manifest instantly because you're at a 0 point. Everything is neutral. You have access to all realities at the same time. You are no one and everything. You are stillness, and there's a lot of chaos happening at the same time. Let's get into it. There are so many examples of people entering the void state. I have my own personal experience. Let me know if you guys have experienced this state. It is subjective. I will start off by saying this first because people do experience different things. I know for myself, I've had key things that happen every single time. So I'll just explain that and how I enter this state. Now, let me talk about why I love it so much, because when you access this state of consciousness, you are nothing. Your ego doesn't exist. Your identity, you just become I am. When you are I am, the world is your oyster. You really don't even have desires, but for the most part, you can access everything. And you can feel your world change immediately. You can feel it in your body. Sometimes it's scary. It can be scary at first, but once you enter this stillness, you feel expanded. You feel this floating sensation. I notice that whenever I enter the void state, I will at first feel a numbness in my body, even tingling in my body. And then after a couple of minutes, I just start floating and I become nothing. I'm just in space and I don't even know where space is. I'm not aware of space or time. How do you access it for yourself? This is something that I have been playing with and practicing, but what I've noticed that works best for me is when I am by myself, not distracted at all. I don't have music on. I don't have binaural beats. I don't have anything going on in the background. I might have my fan on, but that's just because it's hot. I'm in Vegas. I will dissociate everything. I'll either lay down on my bed or I'll just be sitting, and I make sure that I'm very comfortable and that I'm in a very relaxed state, because again, this is the deepest state of pure consciousness. Once I have given myself time to settle in, I do have a scan. I do a scan of my body, and then after a couple of minutes, then I'll feel myself into the void state. And again, this requires no thoughts, no emotions. It is neutrality at its finest. The best way to describe the void state is to look at Scripture, which you guys know that I love doing. And it's so simple. It's so easy. It's in Genesis. It's the second verse. Chapter 1, verse 2. This is the KJV version. It says, "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." This is what Jesus and all the mystics were doing. They were going off into their sacred space. They were quieting themselves, getting into a deep stillness. And once they came out of the stillness, their world rearranged for anyone who was able to see it. They could manipulate the 3D because they entered this void state constantly, religiously, sacredly. And then for those of you guys that are familiar with the Bible, the next verse is "Let there be light." That's verse 3. And what happened when God said, "Let there be light"? Boom, there was light. Because when you're in the void state, You don't have to repeat things. You don't you don't need to visualize, you don't need to feel, you don't have to repeat yourself, because in the void state, in pure consciousness, there's no resistance. Again, you're in this neutral 0 point. This is groundwork. This is the root. This is the I am. So when you say something once, it's done. Like I feel it. I feel emotional talking about it. It is such a powerful tool. When you practice this deep relaxation and become aware of like how to just become and be, then you don't have to do. You don't have to do anything anymore. And I always wondered why. I always asked myself this question, because I would read Neville Goddard and I would read Florence Scovel and I would read these people. I'm like, gosh, these books, they're really profound. And honestly, when I'm reading, I'm not focused on desires. And in the void state, you're not focused on desires either. So I would question, I'm like, why am I receiving the most just by reading this information? And the answer was simple. It came to me. It's because there's very focused attention, but little effort. And that formula is what gets you everything that you want. It's focus, but little effort. It's attention. I'm reading the words on the page. I'm understanding who I am, but I'm not necessarily taking action in the 3D to make anything happen. I feel like a sponge. I literally feel like I'm absorbing everything that I desire and that I could possibly manifest. Because again, when you are I am, there's no limits. You don't have a limit. You can have anything that you want. You say it once and it is done. I found this scripture to be very important. And again, it's not just Jesus. It's look at religious texts and you will find that other figures were doing this as well. They were entering the void state. They were claiming it. They were claiming whatever that intention would be. And then it simply was expressed. The world rearranged because of how still they were in this pure consciousness state. Now, why aren't people really talking about this? It's not that people aren't talking about this or aren't practicing it. It's just that it's so simple and it's so easy to do that there's really nothing to talk about. There's no story, because again, there's no resistance. There's no ego. You lose your identity. I can't even remember my name when I'm in the void state. That's how deep it is. And I feel like I'm floating. I'm in this space where everything exists and I'm nothing. I feel so expanded. And in this state, well, there's just no ego. So the ego, we love the ego, but the ego it's created to be validated. It's created to accomplish things. It's created to experience. Because there's no cause and effect, there's no validation, there's no doing something to get something, no permission slips, then there's nothing to talk about, and therefore there's really no way to explain the process. This is something that you have to experience yourself. And if you're practicing entering the void state, there's very easy ways to do this. A lot of people are accidentally entering the void state of pure consciousness and they're just not realizing it. But you'll know it's the people that say, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this to happen, or oh my goodness, I'm so surprised that this, I wasn't even thinking about this desire and it just happened. There is a chance that that person was in the void state and they allowed that rearrangement to happen. Because here's the thing, when there is no resistance, you get what you want. When there's no awareness of lack, you get what you want. Because our birthright is to be prosperous. Our birthright is to be healthy, wealthy, whole, and complete. So if you're just not convincing yourself that you can't have it, you will have it. And that's why the void state is so powerful, because you're no longer entertaining thoughts at all, negative or positive thoughts, and you just become one with everything. I love the void state. I could talk about it all day long, but that's all I have to say in this video. Let me know what you guys think about this state, this pure consciousness. Ground yourself afterwards, drink lots of water, say your name out loud, and maybe touch some grass. It's definitely a touch grass situation. I hope that this has been helpful. I will see you guys in the next one. I love you so much. Bye.